Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Drive brought to you by Oddschecker. My name is Andy Lack, and with me, as always, is Geoff Fienberg. How are you doing today on this fine Monday morning, my friend?
I am doing quite well, Andy. It's a great week. Odds Checker will have you covered through all the sports bonanza going on, but probably not as good as you and those who listen to you and lots of our friends on the internet today who tailed you on Wyndham Clark, 54 holes, 72 holes. It doesn't matter. Money's in your account. It's always nice to be a little flush on Super Bowl week. I wish I knew.
Absolutely. And I think my main point with Wyndham, because I'm very heavily analytically based, and that's kind of why we make a good team. Because I bring in the crazy weird numbers with all of my models, and you come in more so with the common sense and narrative angle. And my numbers on Wyndham Clark just continually were like, this is one of the top 10 players on this current iteration of the PGA Tour. Like, you can call his US Open win a fluke. You can call his signature win a fluke at Quail Hollow if you want, but at some point you're going to need to put some respect on this guy's name. And I'd even like love him at Pebble Beach that much specifically, but the disrespect on the US Open champion at double the odds of Bo frickin' Hostler, Geoff Fienberg. I just had to do it at 100 to 1. So you're right. I'm feeling good. The account's looking strong right now. Hopefully we can build off this momentum and parlay it into a nice little week of football and golf.
Yeah, should be super exciting. And we're headed to another course that we all know quite well. I'd say some of us, even in our age, Andy, like we know the layout of Scottsdale as good as any course on tour over the last few years, how it's endeared itself to not only golf fans but sports fans, and has certainly embraced its place on the schedule and being that lead in to the Super Bowl. I have many times embarrassed myself in front of my friends' wives as the Super Bowl's about to kick off because something insane is happening in Phoenix, be it a crazy drop from Ricky or all those playoffs that we had there, or one stroke, victories. So it truly is one of the more fun weekends on the sporting calendar. I'm ready to get into it.
Let's do it, man. Well, I think we have to start at the top with discussing some of the recent withdrawals. Viktor Hovland and Xander Schauffele, who would have expected to be probably right behind Scottie Scheffler on the odds board this week. Both of those guys are out, right? So now we're looking at a much more depleted odds board where Scottie Scheffler, the two-time defending champion, is sitting pretty much at market using that odds checker grid at 5 to 1, followed by Justin Thomas at 12 to 1, or sorry, 10 to 1 now, excuse me, actually 9 in some places as well. I think the JT number got hit decently hard this morning, both before the Xander and Hovland withdrawals and after. Max Homa coming off a pretty disappointing performance at Pebble Beach at 16 to 1. And then you've got Burns and Spieth both sitting at 20s before we drop into the 30 to 1 range. Have you made a move at the top here, my friend?
So I have not made a move. I have not. I looked at those JTs, the 14s that were there this morning, how perfect it made sense, but I just didn't do it. I saw so many people in this like internet golf community that we're in, like just quickly running to do it. We know some people that even pulled the 35 to 1 futures that DraftKings had Waste Management odds up even in the swing season, along like it was the only non-major tournament. I didn't really have the foresight for that, unfortunately. I am not, Andy. I'm not gonna lie. Not much under this 30 to 1 has my attention today. If it did, I totally get the JT love. I totally see myself as the Super Bowl is kicking off, as this tournament is ending, everyone cashing their JT tickets. I'm putting my hand in my pocket. I'm only feeling my thigh. I'm only feeling my thigh because I didn't bet JT. But I don't feel comfortable doing it at 10, 12, even the 14s. It wasn't for me.
I somewhat shared that opinion heading into this morning. JT was an active discussion for me in the Discord and in a bunch of my group chats, and it was always kind of to JT or not to JT this week. And then I saw the Xander withdrawal news and I panic bet an 11 on JT, which at the end of the day, Xander withdraws and he goes from like an 11. I miss the 14s as well myself, waking up here on the West Coast. But he goes from an 11 to a 10 with the Xander news. I thought he was going to drop closer to like an 8 or a 9 when you have another guy who's 12 to 1 withdrawal. But I'm holding a JT 11 to 1. I think the case is pretty simple, right, Geoff? He's been unbelievable at this golf course. He's done just about everything at this golf course but win. And the old JT is back, right? He's got what, 4 top 6 finishes in a row dating back to the fall swing. The irons look amazing. It's basically just a matter of the putter, right? And he's kind of almost turned into a Scottie Scheffler light right now, where you can start to really count on the ball striking. Not to say JT's at Scheffler's ball striking level yet, but he's probably maybe slightly a little bit of a better putter than Scottie Scheffler. So with those two guys at the top, if one of them putts, it seems like a very high likelihood that they're going to be in contention to win. And if one of them doesn't putt, Geoff, it's wide open. So why don't you talk me through some of the guys maybe a little bit farther down the board that are absolutely live to win this thing if you just get that very likely outcome of Scottie or JT maybe losing a couple strokes putting?
Yeah. So going beyond that, I could see why people would love Max. I could see why people would love Spieth. The player under 30 to 1 or 20 to 1 or 20 to 1 that sort of has my attention that I could see myself getting behind, though, Andy,
Burns.
would be Scottie Burns. He's just been playing some great
Sam
golf.
Burns. Scottie Scheffler, Sam Burns.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've made that mistake 100 times.
I guess. Yeah, that one, you know, they played in that match play final, so now my head is spinning. 10th at the AT&T with that great round, even though featuring some doubles. The 6th at the Amex that we may as well call second place because he went full tilt on 17. Bad bogey on 17 on Saturday as well at Pebble Beach. So I think he's playing great. California was also not the place where, like, you know, people earmark Burns or love to bet Burns. So I think it just shows a great progression in just his totality as a golfer. And we all know he's a bully. He loves to win golf tournaments. I know that's not really saying much. They all want to bring home the trophy, but I do trust Sam Burns this week. So he would be the high-end player, or the most high-end player that I could see myself betting. Going past that, though, I do see myself taking plenty of shots in that next tier, that 30 to essentially 60 to 1. That's where I see myself peppering some wagers. We know in Phoenix, Andy, like, you need the bag. You need the bag. And we've seen players with a cross-section of bags have great success here. But, you know, you're asked to drive. You're asked to use your irons. You're asked if you got a chip. You know, it's not one of those events where if you're missing the greens, you're out of it anyway because scoring is so low, although it can get that way. And you got to hit some putts. So the whole bag is asked of you here. And when those are the sorts of situations, it's players like Sung J M, like Matthew Fitzpatrick, that certainly do have my attention. Cameron Young, I believe, is a guy who could bully this place, although that's a bit of a gulp anytime you want to bet him, and I got to own it. I've got those futures I mentioned for JT that I didn't have the foresight to make. I've got big Min Woo numbers, and I think Min Woo flirting with like an 80 I have as a future, and Sahith at 65. So those are the bets I'm carrying, and I've mentioned the players I am swimming around, and I'm going to be peppering this 30 to 60 range, I feel.
Yeah, those are good bets on Min Woo and Sahith. I like both of them a lot this week, especially at the numbers that you have them at compared to their current market price. I've made some moves here as well, Geoff, and I think you're probably going to like some of the moves I've made. These are our guys pretty much. I'll start with Hideki at 60 to 1.
For sure.
And I'm not typically a course history truther, but this is one of the highest correlated courses in terms of course history and the entire PGA Tour. Do you know that over the last decade, Geoff, the Waste Management Phoenix Open has been 60% of the waste managements have been won by 3 players over the last decade? 3 players have won 60% of this tournament over the last decade. Can you name those 3 guys?
Ricky, Hideki, Scottie.
Brooks, Hideki, Scottie.
Brooks. Oh, and I was on both the Brooks ones. Ricky was just always flirting. He finally got that one. Yes, thank you. Oh my. Honestly, I get such warm and fuzzies thinking about both Brooks's wins here because one
Right.
was his true
Big
breakthrough.
numbers. Yeah.
One was his true breakthrough to golf fans, and the other one was like it was a bit of a comeback. It had been a while, so it was so nice to see in great numbers. Geez, Andy, you're right, and I've already put out some content today where I'm willing to take my chances on Hideki. If it blows up on me, that's the price of playing the game that we're going to play here. But I
Right.
have a lot of confidence. He starts his week well, and he's got his Phoenix vibes right where we need them. We saw that great scoring round at Torrey Pines. He didn't follow it up, but I'm willing to take my chance in this outright game where guys can miss the cut, and it means the same as betting them if they come T5th. If you don't bet placings, this is the guy I'm certainly willing to take my chances on. So I'm totally with you on Hideki.
100% agree. I think at 60 to 1 on this golf course, don't overthink it. I think this is a really sneaky good Corey Connors course, Jeff. And he's been kind of quiet to start the season, but just a total tee to green monster, great overall driver of the ball. You got to keep the ball out of the cacti here, Jeff. That is the main objective. Elite middle iron player, has had some success at this golf course in the past, has had a lot of success on overseeded Bermuda greens. You give me kind of a sleepy Corey Connors at 75 to 1, who in form would be 35 to 1 in this field. I'm taking that 75 on Connors all day. I think 60s are still widely available, which I'm totally fine at. And then finally, and I want to give you a chance to react to all three of these guys, because I have a feeling that you're probably a fan of, I know you're a fan of the Hideki situation, selection. I know you're a Connors guy, and I know you're an Adam Scott guy as well, who really impressed the hell out of me at Pebble.
Yeah,
He looked good, man. Like, he was making a lot of birdies at Pebble Beach. He's played pretty well in the desert on the past. The driver looks good. The middle iron play looks good. Adam Scott, 55 to 1. Think I'm there, man.
okay. I'll start by saying I absolutely love what you did post Justin Thomas.
Yeah.
Because you're at the top there and you got to come. I love it. I love it. You're playing. I
Skip them
think Corey
all.
Connors.
Go to 60. Give me three guys at 60 and 12.
Corey. Yeah, but the specific three players you picked
Yeah.
all have a like I could get behind all of them. I call Corey Connors the banana stand. There's always money in Corey Connors. Has that happened in 24 yet? Probably not. But I would argue his struggles, like people. When sort of bringing up Corey Connors earlier, people fight back with how bad he's been playing. And then you really break it down. I think that's overblown. Like, he hasn't been the consistent monster, and we haven't seen his name on a front page yet, but it's not like he missed cuts. I know there haven't really been cuts, so maybe that's a dumb comment to make in the first place. I feel like his struggles might be a little overblown, and he's certainly going at a comfort place. I was on Adam Scott last week at 90. I love the way he was striking that ball. So I can get behind. I can get behind just about all of those, Andy. That would probably wrap it up for you. As we get deeper into the back, though, a guy like Alex Noren, he's had some nice course history here. I don't know if I could trust him to actually win, but that would be someone I'm looking at in front of 100 to 1. Other than that, though, I'm really going to be peppering like 30 through 60. That is where my card is going to live, and the players that I have mentioned.
Anyone else, any long shots you want to give a shout to before we get out of here? I have one quick guy I'll give mention to, which is Sam Ryder at 250 to 1. I keep saying this is the week where the top of the board storms back, but if not, I think you could do a lot worse than an informed Sam Ryder who's been really good at this golf course, who makes a ton of birdies, has been good in the desert, great putter on these overseeded greens at 250 to 1. That would be my favorite long shot of the bunch as well.
When really like trying to go deep into it, I'd say maybe the player 150 to 1. KH Lee, I'm seeing as high as 200 to 1 on the odds checker grid. Just a horrific Farmers where he missed the cut. He did not do anything right. But before that, it's been pretty consistent for him, a consistent string of golf. He had a second place here to that great second Brooks Koepka victory mentioned. So yeah, if I'm looking like really deep or trying to give a name in a long shot, 100, find me a winner, 100 plus, KH Lee would be my tip. Andy, before we get out of here, it is Super Bowl week. So I felt like it'd be silly to not share a thought. Use odds checker. There'll be tons of props. Make sure you're getting the best number when you're doing it. I'll throw two at you. George Kittle over those receiving yards, 46.5, 47.5. The Chiefs loves to blitz when teams are in those 2 RB or fullback sets. So I think we'll see lots of blitzing from the Chiefs, and that'll set up Kittle, I believe, who's done quite well under the blitz for Purdy. And I think Deebo Samuel over 14.5 rushing yards. I believe Debo's fully unleashed in this game. I believe he's going to be fully unleashed. They didn't get to use him with the 2-week prep game because he got hurt in the first quarter out of the bye right away. He had 3 carries last week, which leads me to believe he's very healthy. Extra time off. It is a Deebo Samuel show. Not really making a comment on who's going to win the game, but I like those two 49er props. Yourself?
Yeah, it's a tough game, Jeff. And I probably one of the few people that I have heard thus far, although I haven't consumed a ton of Super Bowl content yet, that is firmly on the 49ers this week. And I haven't dove super deep into the props. One bet that I did make that I'll just throw out right here for the listeners that I don't have my bets up in front of me. I want to say I got this at like 8 or 9 to 1. I have the Chiefs to win the first half, the 49ers to win the game. Um, Purdy is a bit of a notoriously slow starter, and Mahomes the Chiefs have been coming out of the gate really strong with a big gut punch, running a lot of Pacheco down your throats to start the game, and then kind of playing keep away with some longer drives. This isn't really the explosive down the field Chiefs team that we've seen in past years. They're far more dependent on their running game. They're far more dependent on their defense. This is probably it has turned into one of the more complete Chiefs teams that we've seen. But if you look at the way that they play, they don't have the Tyreek Hill elite speed down the field weapons that they've had in the past, and they play a lot more keep away. They love playing with a lead. That's been their way to knock down opponents slowly but surely throughout the season. So I like the Chiefs to win the first half and the 49ers to come back firing in the game. One of the best halftime adjustment teams in the NFL has been the San Francisco 49ers. It scares me, Jeff. I've read a lot about the conspiracy theories on the NFL. What's the value of getting Taylor Swift celebrating on the field after the Super Bowl in the hundreds of millions? I get all of it. I've been watching football every Sunday this year. The 49ers are a better football team. In my opinion, they're a more complete football team. And I think they win a close come from behind game 27-24.
Love it. Very in depth. Andy knows what he's talking about. I don't mind the 49ers as well. I'm also a loser Charger fan who doesn't want to see a division rival get triplets. So that's sort of where I am on a bias level from the insides. Andy, he's off his Wyndham Clark winner. He's rolling with Justin Thomas, Corey Connors, Hideki Matsuyama, Adam Scott. I love that 4-pack myself. I'm starting a little deeper on the board. I have bet Minwoo. I have bet Sahith. I expect to bet Matthew Fitzpatrick, and a combination of maybe one or two of Sam Burns, Hideki, Sung J.M. or Cam Young. That is where I am swimming around, friends. Super Bowl week. May the winners be yours.